It's time for the RMAC Radio Show, featuring all the latest information from around the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. The RMAC is a proud member of NCAA Division II. Now, here's your host, Eric Danner.
Welcome to the RMAC Radio Show, week number 18, our second week of 2013. My name is Eric Danner. Got a big show planned for you today. We're going to talk women's basketball here in segment number one with the head coach of the CSU-Pueblo ThunderWolves. His name is Kip Drown. We'll talk to him in just a couple of minutes here. Segment number two, we got Nick Tomsick from Fort Lewis College lined up to talk to us. He had a big three-pointer at the buzzer for Fort Lewis to defeat Black Hills State up in Spearfish this past weekend. And then we'll wrap things up in segment number three. But starting with women's hoops, we got a big showdown headed this weekend as Colorado Mesa now 8-0 in the RMAC, 12-0 overall. They will be playing 6-1 CSU-Pueblo. They are 6-1, 9-2 overall. And we're now joined by the head coach of the ThunderWolves. His name is Kip Drown. Coach Drown, how's it going today?
Good, Eric. Good to talk with you.
Hey, good to talk with you, Coach. Thanks for taking some time out. I know you had a big game this past weekend as well. UCCS, they've developed into a nice little team, 5-2 now in the RMAC, and that was kind of an interesting game this past weekend, Coach. Not only is there a rivalry on the line, as you guys are just about 40 miles away, this was also the inaugural Downtown Classic, played at the old City Auditorium, and I guess the last time they used that facility for basketball, Coach, Meadowlark Lemon was playing for the Harlem Globetrotters. So do you take that role now as the clown prince of basketball?
Well, I had not heard that piece of history about the building, but it was a very historic building. The architecture in it was some nice things, and it was just a different facility. It was a different environment to play in than we'd ever played before. I told our kids before the game, if you hope to play deep into the season, you're going to play in a lot of different venues. You're going to play in a lot of, different situations that you've got to adjust to and everything. And I thought overall we did that. I thought UCCS worked really hard to try to make that as good a venue as possible, for everyone to play in. And it was definitely a different type of game for all of us. And, we were just happy to get out there with a win.
Yes, CSU-Pueblo wins 66-54. Erica Hicks scores 20 points for you, Coach. I know she's second on your team in scoring this year. And you've kind of had this pattern where you bring in kids as a freshman and maybe they don't play right away or don't play a whole lot, but by their junior, senior year, they're one of the top players on your team. And you don't necessarily see that with every team. Did you see something in Erica when she was a freshman that let you know by the time she's a junior or senior she was going to be contributing like this?
Well, we always knew Eric could score. Erica was the number one scorer in the state of Colorado her junior year in high school. So, scoring and shooting the basketball has always been strength for E. Sometimes shooters come in and they struggle to find shots for themselves. And I think E has really grown in that she kind of picks and chooses and finds her niche in the offense. And, she's been playing really well, had a really good senior year for us.
Talking with Kip Drown, the head women's basketball coach at CSU-Pueblo, and Coach Laurel Kersley currently leading the RMAC in rebounding at better than 10 per game, also leading your team in scoring at 14.8. And she can do a lot of different things. She not only plays on the offensive side, but also on the defensive side. Yeah,
she's just a great competitor. And, Eric, she is one of the greatest kids I've ever coached in all my years. She loves to play. She comes with a smile on her face every day. And just such a mild-mannered kid off the floor, but on the floor she really competes hard. And you love kids who go rebound. It's just so hard to find those kids that will go and rip basketballs with two hands, and you're not afraid to expose their body inside. And that's, Lo does that for us. And plus then she has the ability to score. She does a lot of things. She'll guard for you. She absolutely has one of the great teachable attitudes I've ever been around, and she'll just do anything you ask her to do.
Talking with Kip Drown, head women's basketball coach at CSU-Pueblo. The ThunderWolves host Colorado Mesa this Friday. Right now, the Mavericks 8-0 in the RMAC. They're 12-0 overall. Coming into the season, Coach, there was a lot of questions about who is going to rise to the top here in RMAC women's basketball, especially with Mark Kellogg leaving Fort Lewis and a lot of coaching changes, more so than in most seasons. And a lot of people thought, CSU-Pueblo is going to be there near the end, near the top. But Colorado Mesa, maybe a little bit of a surprise, but maybe not too much of a surprise when you look at the talent on that team.
Well, I would agree with that. I mean, going in, you knew they had some excellent talent, and then, with Sharia coming back from her year out to go with Katrina and with Kelsey Siegel, I mean, that is, those are some really good players. And, of course, Katrina we had the world of respect for. She was here her freshman year, and just as an outstanding player, does so many things, both on with the ball and without the ball, and offensively, defensively. Taylor's done a great job. Matter of fact, I've been sitting here all morning watching video, and has really done a great job with them. They're excellent defensively, play hard, have good positioning, and I think you probably start with him. He's taken that talent, and he's brought it together, and molded it, and they're playing very, very well.
Talking with Kip Drown, and CSU-Pueblo plays Saturday night against Western State. And Coach, a little different on the RMAC shootout this year. The past 7 years that you've been in the league, the finals have been in Pueblo at the Colorado State Fair Event Center, and everybody's been telling me, well, it's not going to be in Pueblo this year, because it's going to the highest seed. But I was like, well, hold on a second. There's a chance it still could be in Pueblo, and I would think that you still like your chances at possibly having that top seed, depending on how things break for you.
I think it's still wide open. I think, definitely Mesa has shown that they are an excellent basketball team, and, I think they're going to be there all the way through it. I think Metro State, got off to a little bit of a slow start, but I think we brought out the best of them when they came down here, there about the second week of December, and ever since then they've been really playing well. So, UCCS and Mines both have shown that, they're going to compete and play with probably anybody in this league. So I think there's a lot of basketball to be played. But, this is a big game for us. If we can get this one, we put it right back 1-1, both of us with 1 losses. If not, then, we're going to fall 2 behind Mesa, and they're going to have a tiebreaker. So this is a big game for us Friday night in terms of trying to stay in this race and hopefully do something as we come down toward the end.
Talking with Kip Drown, the head women's basketball coach at CSU-Pueblo, now in his 8th season as head coach of the ThunderWolves. And for most of that time, Coach, you've been pretty stable on the assistant coaches. Leslie Haywood, she went over to Colorado Mines this past year. You got a new assistant in Janine Jubick. And how does that affect you as a head coach now that you got some new assistants this year?
Well, Les and I were just so comfortable. We'd been together. She played for me her senior year, and then was with me, for 6 years on staff. And we hardly ever even had staff meetings. I mean, it was kind of like we had roles set. We knew what we were going to be doing, and we just took care of our business. And, with change, you bring in different ideas. You bring in different, energy a little bit. And so, we've changed the whole staff. Janine Jubick came in as our assistant. We kept Kendall Babler. We kept Janelle Branning on from last year's players to this year's coaches. So, we're very young in that regard, except for myself. I got enough years to cover everybody, I guess. But those 3 guys have brought, a newness, freshness. And Les has done a great job up the Mines. She's just a super coach. But, we've kind of just made the adjustments, gone on, and, I think our kids have adapted very well, and I think Janine has settled in very well and feels real comfortable.
Talking with Kip Drown from CSU-Pueblo, and this is always kind of an interesting time of year, Coach, when you have the break, then you get kids back before they're in school. Not a lot of schools are starting back this week. Some are starting back next week. Where are you guys in that process, and how does that change in terms of your kids' routine?
Probably one of the longest breaks in terms of we had 12 days off, and then we came back and we had 8 practices that we've had in a while since I've been here. So, like I said, I was just happy to get out of there Saturday night with the win. I'm hoping that our practice is going to be a little bit better this week. I'm hoping we're going to get back into a little better game mode. I think, with Mesa coming in Friday night, that hopefully is going to really have our kids focused as we start back practice today. But I'll be glad to get classes going. I just think we get a better routine going. I think kids get more in a habit, and everything flows a little smoother, I think, once we're back into that in that mode.
Well, hey, Coach, want to thank you for taking some time out, and good luck rest of the way.
Hey, Eric, I appreciate it. You guys do a great job over there. Thanks.
Thank you. That is Kip Drown, head women's basketball coach at CSU-Pueblo in his 8th season as the head coach. He actually came over from Grand Canyon University, which the Antelopes will be going Division I next year, and they did not he helped turn that program around, but boy, they've really gone on to do some big things there. And as Coach Drown has done some big things at CSU-Pueblo, got on the NCAA tournament a number of times, and they could be headed in that direction again this year, depending on what happens the second half of the RMAC season. That'll be one to watch. 6-1 CSU-Pueblo against 8-0 Colorado Mesa this Friday. For more on what happened this past weekend in RMAC women's basketball, let's head over to Chris Polton with the RMAC recap.
Thanks, Eric. Kelsey Siegel and Colorado Mesa continue their perfect season, dispatching two tough opponents with the breeze. Friday night, Siegel's 22-point effort led the Mavs to the 10-point win over Colorado Christian. Siegel would eclipse another 20-plus performance the next night against Colorado Mines as Mesa gets the home sweep 68-53. CSU-Pueblo traveled to UC Colorado Springs on Saturday night to renew what looks to be a revitalized rivalry and took care of the Mountain Lions in their den by a final of 66-54. The T-Wolves were led by the double-double of Laurel Kersley, bagging 14 points and grabbing 15 boards. Metro State was able to keep pace with CSUP this weekend, pounding the two New Mexico schools. Brandy Valencia was one rebound shy of a double-double. She led the offensive attack for the Roadrunners in the 87-58 victory over New Mexico Highlands. Saturday night, it was the Emily Wood Show as the senior hung 22 points on Western New Mexico en route to the 85-37 shellacking. Regis continues to roll, winning their third and fourth games in a row. Friday night, Brandy Collins shined with 19 points over the Mustangs in the 60-38 win. Saturday night, Taylor Purdy and Collins both with double-doubles. Purdy with 17 points and 10 boards, while Collins added 10 points to go along with her 10 assists. Final 70-60. Fort Lewis snagged two big road victories, winning Friday night at Chadron State and then Saturday night against Black Hills State. Ashley Kuchar combined for 39 points on the weekend to help propel the Skyhawks. Adams State did not have the same luck against these same two teams. The Yellow Jackets thumped the Grizzlies Friday night behind Chelsea Beagler's 16-point performance. Saturday night, ASU ran into a Katie Ranta offensive implosion for the Eagles. The 40 points and 12 rebounds for the junior guard in the win. Lastly, there's Western State, who cannot salvage a win on the weekend. The Orediggers were led by Tori Langus's double-double in the Friday night victory over the Mountaineers. Saturday night, CCU Franz Taylor Torres paved the way with 22 points in the Cougar victory over Western. I'm Chris Polton, and that's your RMAC recap.
Thank you, Chris. RMAC Baden Players of the Week. Offensively goes to Emily Wood of Metro State. She averaged 17.5 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, while shooting 66% from the field as Metro State defeated Western New Mexico and New Mexico Highlands. Defensive Player of the Week goes to Ashley Kuchar from Fort Lewis. She had 2.5 steals and a block average this past weekend while pulling down 3 defensive rebound average as Fort Lewis defeated Chadron State and Black Hills State. So congratulations to our RMAC/Baden Players of the Week. In addition to Pueblo and Mesa being on top of the standings, Metro State also at 6-1. UCCS now tied at 5-2 with Colorado Mines and Regis. Colorado Christian and Fort Lewis are both at 4-3. Those would be the 8 teams in the RMAC shootout if it started today. The RMAC shootout starting on Tuesday, March 5th. So just under 2 months away now before the RMAC tournament begins. Again, the highest remaining seed after the Tuesday games will then host the Final Four. So a lot to look forward to in the second half of the season. When we come back, we're going to talk men's basketball with the big shot maker, Nick Tomsick. You're listening to the RMAC Radio Show.